Previously on Chat Over Popcorn.
My goodness, I can't imagine what it is that you have to deal with on a daily basis. And you talk about, as a woman, God created you to have these organs, and these organs are to produce children. And when you cannot do that, in a way, you have to almost rebrand yourself.
Chat Over Popcorn starts now.
Tonight, we are going to dig a little deeper on how friends and families can show support. And basically, as a society, the stigma that we put on these concerned parties like yourself, how we judged women, whether it's a decision you've made to not have children, or whether you are just struggling to have children and people do not know. Like you said, you can't go around telling your story, oh, by the way, I can't have a child,
Right.
But it does not stop people from asking you, well, when are you going to have a baby? Or it doesn't stop people from just talking to you about kids and inviting you to these baby showers you're talking about. But then because of the emotional toll it takes on you, I can imagine you are not always your best self. And so even how you may come off or communicate or respond to some of these triggers may not sit well with somebody, and then they will judge you.
We should have communication with one another. And a part of that is small talk. I remember being blindsided at a dentist's office, and, I was a new patient. She was asking these just typical standard questions like, oh, how long have you lived here? And then the next question is, so do you have any children? Because she's a mom of 3. Being a mom is everything to her. She can't even think outside of that, right? And I get that. That's how my mom was, and that's why she was such a great mother. But when she asked me that, and this was still pretty raw and fresh, I was, and you know me, I'm never short for words. I was stunned, and I didn't even know how to respond to that. And so, I told her, no, it's just not in the cards, and I moved on. I changed the subject. But then I've had girlfriends who say, oh yeah, no, I will say, look, I cannot have children, and I'm infertile. It's just, it's not happening for me. And you can even further go into, well, I just don't really even feel like talking about it. But then here, she meant no harm by it, right? She was just trying to have a great conversation, make me feel welcome to this new clinic. And so it's also being able to navigate through these stereotypes, navigate through these stigmas. And when you don't feel like you can open up with anyone and really talk to anyone who really relates, you not only feel isolated and kind of lost, kind of feel stuck until someone can kind of say, hey, I know what you're going through. Do you want to talk, or what do you need? The conversations can get tough and awkward, and you don't really know how to say things or when to say things.
I will say that having the conversation is very important. And I'll be honest with you, knowing you and knowing your story have definitely made me a better person. I am more conscious of the impact that these things have on the concerned parties. So I have actually trained myself to not ask anybody in my age group or anybody of the reproductive age, when are you having a baby? When are you having the next one, right? I have trained myself to not do that because you never know the person's story. So having these conversations as a society would bring more awareness and help people understand the sensitivity for this topic and how just by having small talk could spiral somebody down into depression.
Yeah, even someone who doesn't necessarily feel depressed otherwise. I mean, infertility in and of itself can cause depression. It can cause trauma. I realized this has been a traumatic experience for me. With all of the experiences that I've had throughout my journey, it is heavy. It's heavy, and it takes a lot of patience and kindness with yourself. You know, I consider myself a solutions-oriented person. I always have been, and I appreciate that about other people. But you know, when we are having these conversations, you said something that was so important, Angela. You had said you don't know what someone's going through. You can't make assumptions, and you've trained yourself not to ask about, hey, when's that second child coming, right? I've trained myself to do the same, because they may not be able to have a second child, and they shouldn't have to tell me that, right? If they have a second child, they have it, they'll let us know when they do.
Right.
And I want to make it very clear, it's not that people should walk on eggshells, right? Because we don't know what anyone is going through at any time. But we have to always be mindful of that. I mean, they may be going through a lot of other things. And that's where just kindness and listening go a long way. So when my friends and family first started talking to me after my diagnoses, and of course I'm hysterical. I'm a hot mess. I know it's really hard to see someone you love or really care about hurt. And your first instinct is to find a way to alleviate them from this pain, right? You want to find whatever is in your power to try to make it better. And so what a lot of the initial conversations were when finding out about what's really going on here, they wouldn't even ask me how I'm doing or ask me how I'm feeling. They would kind of wait for the moment to say, well, you know, have you thought about adoption? Have you thought about fostering? Have you thought about fostering animals? I mean, they go on and on with all these wonderful solutions that normally I'm very much like ready to jump on the solutions, but this is so devastating for a woman and a man, and for anyone who's gone through any kind of grief or loss. Okay, you know that you need to process this. You need to go through the phases of these feelings, right? Processing this massive amount of loss. You're not focused on, well, life goes on, right? You've got to really allow yourself to grieve, and that grieving can take years. And so what I would recommend to family members who struggle with knowing what to say or want to say the right thing, it's very easy, okay? You don't have to say anything. You don't have to come up with solutions or recommendations until someone says, you know, I'm kind of struggling here. If someone comes to you for advice or wants to talk things out, yes. But if someone's coming to you to listen and empathize with them, maybe give them a hug or just show them a little love, whatever their love language may be, that's good when it's so fresh, right? So, easy question. How can I help? Or what do you need from me right now? We've got to let our biases and our expectations and our judgments, we've got to obliterate that, right? Because this world is full of so many different types of people who have so many different types of backgrounds and experiences. There's no way by looking at someone you can say, oh, I bet they are infertile, or oh, I bet they are recovering from trauma. There's no way to know that. But considering the fact that at some point in time in all of our lives, we have gone through something, and probably more than just once, we've gone through something real deep. So a lot of times when people look at you, they literally have no idea. There's no way they can know. So just know that when you're looking at someone, talking with someone, if you're feeling irritated or upset, compassion is everything. Listening is everything, because that's the whole point, right? As a people, as a society, we are supposed to evolve. We are supposed to grow. We are supposed to take care of each other. And the only way to do that, in my opinion, is taking a step back when we maybe might get defensive, or when maybe we might go into question asking, taking a step back and asking, what is it that I really want to say? What is it that I really want to do? What is it that I really want to learn? Because when we do decide to open up and share, the respectful thing to do is to listen.
Thank you for watching this episode. To continue with the conversation, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell or notification button to be notified every time new videos get uploaded. Also, click thumbs up to like the video and follow our Instagram and Facebook pages to catch up on all the conversations.